Are we really on?
Oh, we are.
We're on. We're live. Welcome to the Final Hour Podcast.
Welcome.
Hello.
Coming to you from the original Living Word Christian Center
Yes.
out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Episode 50.
That's right.
And my name is Jim Hammond.
I'm Linnea.
I'm John Gap.
And we have our producer back there,
Jerry.
Jerry. Here's Jerry.
How are we doing?
Scary.
Yeah, but he's got a mic now, too.
And you know what? I like his voice.
Jerry's smooth in all.
He's got a smooth voice.
That's good.
In all
A
aspects.
radio voice.
He does.
Yeah, he does. But
That's right.
we're excited to be here.
He's got a face for television, though.
We are. Thank you so much for joining us live. This is our new podcast. What would you call it? Studio.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
we've got one more thing we've got to do to it.
Yeah.
Kind of our trademark final hour is
Literally our trademark.
It's gonna go.
It is.
It's gonna go back here somewhere. This is is this a darkened? Could we call that a darkened picture of the city of Minneapolis?
It's a picture of the city of Minneapolis looking towards the southwest. It's a
better than the
gorgeous
plants.
shot. That's a shot from Rob Schrader.
And we
beautiful.
miss the plant.
I don't miss.
I don't miss the plant.
But this is a blessing. I
Plants
thank the
can-
Lord for
Yes.
this.
Plants can keep you company. Make
Thanks,
sure you're
John.
not lonely.
I thought we would never. I never thought that we would get this, but until you actually see it come to fruition. So we're blessed, and we kind of want to just get into the questions to the people that sent in. They sent in their questions
Yeah,
to the website.
got a few.
Yes, and just to let you know, this will still upload at 12:01 a.m. On February 7th. This is Thursday morning, February 2nd, 10 a.m. We're live, but we're also taping this, and we will upload it on February 2nd on all the different
All our
platforms. Yes, and so I really want to, because a lot of our viewers and listeners wrote in about this, and so I want to acknowledge the family of Tyree Nichols, and just say, I pray in the name of Jesus Christ, we speak peace to them, to that mother and father. That cannot be easy. Your peace you give unto them, Jesus, not as the world giveth you unto them. I pray that they let not their heart be troubled, neither they let it be afraid. And I just want to say that's ashamed. It's ashamed, and in my opinion, it's got to be demonic. It's got to be demonic. Five police officers. They know that they're on camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I always come back at a lot of this, for the, if someone's like pro police or pro, anti-police, doesn't matter. Whatever your position about what's going on with the view of law enforcement in this country, no matter what, the loss of life is tragic and it's sad. So mourn with those who mourn, and rejoice with those who rejoice. But take time to pray for that family.
But looking at the footage, I will say that they should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So our prayers, heartfelt prayers, go out to the Nichols family. Question from Zach Sparrows. He says, "Hi, Final Hour Podcast team. With all the things Minnesota government is doing, heading towards through legislation, do you think it's wise to raise a family in Minnesota?" Actually, I do. I do, and you have to take in so many things into account.
Right.
I guess the number one thing you would look at, Zach, is what does your wife, is it 50-50? Do you both think you need to get out of here?
Sure.
Then you need to get out of here.
Yeah.
But
listen to the voice of God for sure.
Yes, and if you're feeling that, it will be echoed in your significant other.
Right.
Mhm.
And so, but here's the problem. If you say, I just feel it, she doesn't feel it. And because a lot of times, you know, when you've got family here,
Mhm.
and I don't know you guys' situation, family plays into that. You know, the closeness of, I feel like I see much more. It definitely goes for both sexes, but more so
Right.
on the women's side.
Yeah.
When they've got their parents, when they've got their siblings here, to just uproot them and then yank them out. Do I think this is a
Yes.
dangerous place? It's a dangerous world all over the world.
Right.
Mhm.
Yep.
You could move. Oh, okay. So you moved to Nashville. Well, you know, I was down in Tennessee. I've been down in Tennessee probably 8 or 9 times.
Yeah.
Visiting my daughter down there. Her and her husband are down there, and I can honestly tell you that just because it's the South, maybe different types of views, it's more violent. You turn on the news at 4 a.m. in the morning, and you're going to see about 9 or 10 things in a row that
Right.
happened the night before,
Man.
opposed to many. And so I don't know if you're thinking of they're going to legalize marijuana. Well, I think marijuana is going to be eventually legalized nationwide.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So where are you going to go?
And so really it's about, I do think it is as wise as any to raise a family. I think you could do much worse
Yeah.
than Minnesota. And I think if you're looking for the grass to be greener, I don't think it's going to get greener anywhere.
Sure.
And I have to say, it's when it comes to a family situation, you've got to lean on the woman's intuition there.
Mhm.
Okay, because I truly respect that. I
Yeah.
respect that. So
Can I just say something?
Yes.
Because I think their kids are younger, Zach
Yeah.
and Bethany, so they're not in
What's up, Spiro's fan?
school yet. But I'm saying if you want to make a change and you want to make a difference, then get involved in your PT,
Yes.
the parent meetings or the
Yep.
school board meetings. Go to those things
Your
and have
city
a voice.
council meeting.
Yes, you can
Yep.
have a voice. So you can, even though we all say, "Oh, can we make a difference?" Yes, we
Yeah.
can. Like we have talked about so many stories on here where we reported that something was, going one way
Yeah.
and it redirected to another way.
Exactly.
Like we just
Yeah.
had 2 stories this week. I know. I think in September we talked about how China had a police station in New
China.
York. Well, that just got
Right.
closed down
yanked.
because of prayers,
Good.
and also the Catholic gentleman that we were talking about, who the
In
Department
Philly.
of Justice, was trying
right.
to put into jail because he was at abortion clinics.
Right.
That he got acquitted this week.
Good.
So your voice does make a
Right.
difference.
Remember the guy
Yeah.
the guy that they were trying to prosecute
with his
because
son.
they were bullying his son. He just
Right.
prays in front of abortion clinics.
Yep.
And then they were trying to throw the full extent of the law,
Right.
humiliated him. Well, he
Yeah.
got exonerated.
Mhm.
He got exonerated, and that's because people pray, and
Yeah.
that's because people aren't hiding
Yeah.
Yep.
from it.
Yep.
And
And if you want to even look at it as a large scale thing, there's reports that George Soros. I don't mean to go conspiracy world right away here, but if you want to look at being involved in your local community, George Soros is stopped putting so much money into national races and more into district
Yeah, you're right. I
attorneys,
did
those
read that too.
DAs
Mhm.
that can really affect what happens in the municipality conversation. And so you have to be aware of what's going on in your city because you can make a difference.
we have reported even
Yeah.
the World Economic Forum with their what do they call the green cities and
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
What were
And
they-
Blue,
I'm
the
telling
blue
you,
ones, the
they're-
blue
they're-
zones.
they're
Yep.
infiltrating
Right.
on a city council level.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
And as John is saying, it's proven George Soros with his DAs,
Yep.
Yeah.
right, and all that stuff. But to answer your question, Zach, I think
Yeah.
Minnesota is. I've been around, and it's definitely cleaner.
Yep.
It's cleaner, and I don't know if that plays into it in a lot of ways. I know.
Yeah.
Hey, let's look at it this way: the whole world was rioting. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You can say the riots started here. Okay. Well, there wasn't many places where there weren't riots.
Right.
Okay. And so, I'm not. I know that this church that we're part of is called here, and it's called to be in this spiritual war.
Absolutely.
Because it is a war in Minnesota.
Yep.
And you can see it as a dark place.
Yeah.
When you're talking about principalities, powers, rulers of the darkness of this world, I think when we get up to heaven, we're going to see there was some pretty strong principalities over the city of Minneapolis, because we believe this is where the end time revival is starting, i.e. prophecy by George Washington Carver. Okay. And it's going to roll down the Mississippi.
Can I shout out to some of our viewers?
Yes,
going
please,
on right now?
please do,
So
John.
I'm gonna go ahead and do selfishly shout out to Jimmy Gap, the only family member on the live so far.
Jimmy,
we love Jimmy.
Also Happy Holly, Hannah White, Sherry Buckham, Jeff Hendrickson.
I saw Happy Holly says she misses the tree. We're getting a lot of missing the tree.
Yep.
Text.
No, so do I.
Kevin Halseth, Adam Beaudry. What's up, Bodes? Glad to see you guys here. Thanks for being on the 50th episode live.
I did see
yes, all 9 of you. Thank you. We appreciate you.
I did see someone from Illinois.
51.
I know I'm joking around. I'm like, thank you,
man,
Lord.
this is awesome.
It is awesome.
It's incredible.
And if you're not in Minnesota, put in the chat where you're from. Because I saw someone from Illinois.
Illinois.
That helps. Yes, if we could see where you're from. Listen, we're just taking the questions, and those people that wrote in on the website for starters.
Yeah.
Marlene asked is righteousness contagious? I assume that she's talking about 2 types of righteousness. There's Old Testament righteousness with simply how good you are, how good you are being, how good are your actions, how bad are your actions. And there's the New Testament gift of righteousness. And so I'm assuming Marlene is talking about the New Testament gift of righteousness in 2 Corinthians 5:21 out of the Amplified.
Yeah.
This is what it is. For our sake, Christ made to be sin. He knew no sin, so that in and through him we could become. This is something you have to become when you're saved. Endued with, viewed as being in. By who? By God. The righteousness of God. What is that? It says what we ought to be. What we ought to be. That the New Testament gift of righteousness is God viewing you is not what you are, what you ought to be. All right? That is your position at the right hand of the Father. And that's one of the things that Jesus did through his death, burial, and resurrection. And I do not believe that is contagious, because it says in the New Testament, it says, those that having received an abundance of grace and the gift of righteousness reign as kings. It doesn't say those who sin the least. Okay?
Right.
It says in Romans, those who receive an abundance, I believe it's Romans 5:17, those who receive an abundance of grace and the gift of righteousness. Yeah. It's a gift that you have to receive. And, and looking at that, and you guys know how Isaiah 53 prophesies the crucifixion of Jesus.
Right.
Right down to the nails, all of it, his feelings, it walks you through. And then Isaiah 54 prophesies the benefits of the crucifixion.
Yeah.
And so listen to this. This is after the crucifixion Isaiah is prophesying. In Isaiah 54, 14, in righteousness thou shalt be established. You have to be established in righteousness. Thou shalt be far from oppression. Okay?
Yeah.
For thou shalt, and you will have no fear from terror, for it shall not come near thee. If you're established in it. No, I know about that. Oh, I know about that. Yeah. He preached on that. I've heard him preaching on this. No, you have to be established in it. And it says, all those, verse 15, gathered together against you shall fall for your sake. These are the benefits of New Testament righteousness. And a lot of people take this one out of context. No weapon, verse 17, formed against you shall prosper. All right? But you have to be established in the New Testament gift of righteousness. You can't just know about it. You have to know that this is where you're praying from.
Right.
This is where you operate. This is how God sees you. You have to know, first of all, that your sins and iniquities he has mercy on.
Mm.
And your lawless deeds of unrighteousness, he doesn't remember.
No more.
And that's how he looks at you, as you ought to be.
Yeah.
As you ought to be. And this is why it's New Testament gift of righteousness is very overlooked. And it says, as I said in Romans 5:17, I believe, you have to receive it. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You have to receive an abundance of it. And as Isaiah 54, you have to be established in it, for no weapon formed against you to be able to prosper. This is something you do through your relationship with Jesus Christ and receiving from him. So I do not believe it is contagious.
Yeah.
Marlene, thank you so much for your question. Another question from Laura Clapp, who I will say they're a member, and they were coming to church when we only had 12 people.
Yeah.
All right, and I was 12 years old in 1979. All right, so Laura Clapp, Nikki Haley's running for president and is a member of the World Economic Forum.
Ooh.
And she was just appointed by Klaus Schwab as one of their young...
Leaders, but that was in 2011.
2011.
Yeah, 2011. So
Which
she's
is-
been in it for a while.
It's interesting too because she was also very pro-Israel in the UN and very fought against a lot of the anti-Israel legislation and the talk. So it's like, what do you do? I mean,
she's spoken at this church.
Yeah.
Right.
And for Night to Honor Israel,
Right.
Yeah.
just in the spring. But
Yeah.
okay, I can't say I know what's going on here.
Yeah.
A couple things, Laura. Nikki Haley. I think. Okay, think about the elections a few years ago,
Yeah.
where a bunch of people were voted in as Republicans,
Yeah.
and they said all the right things.
Yep.
And then when they got voted in,
Right.
they started voting Democratic.
Mhm.
Right.
Democrat.
Yeah.
Okay, they were plants. Personally, I would love to join the World Economic Forum, and I
Be
would
a
probably
plant.
pay for my own plane ticket.
Yeah.
Well, you have
Just-
to be invited, Jim.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying.
I don't know if
We
we're gonna
don't.
get any.
You don't
any
judge
invites.
the whole situation yet. Yes,
Right.
we look at this.
Yep.
We have to look at this
For sure.
right?
Yeah.
And because that was shocking. That Laura, thank you again.
Yeah.
Laura's come
Yeah.
in with a few things
She has.
that we have used.
Yeah.
And this is something to watch because of the Republicans that were elected as Republicans and then flipped, right? And
Right.
flipped everything on its head.
They call them rhinos.
Rhinos. And
Republican in name.
is
only.
this a flip in the other direction?
Mhm.
Or is she legitimate?
Yeah.
Wow. It's I have to say we don't know. You know
Right.
as much as we know. Since 2011, she has been appointed by Klaus Schwab as one of the...
She was a young leader in 2011. Now she's just, I don't know what it is. She's part
she's
of
a
the
world figure, basically.
a global leader.
Well, and we talk about Republican and Democrat. I don't look a lot of credence to whether or not someone has a D or an R in their name. It's what do they support? What's the fruit of their political career? What because there's plenty of Republicans that are terrible.
Yes,
Well,
there
I-
are.
Yeah.
There are. There
And I know
absolutely
there's some
are.
controversy around the World Economic
Yeah.
Forum, but there's a pastor. Who is the Saddleback pastor? What's his name? I can't think of his name, but
Rick?
Rick Warren.
Rick Warren.
Warren.
Yeah, he is involved with the World Economic Forum and has
Interesting.
been for a while. And there's a lot of debates on the internet about
Yeah,
that. And
right.
actually, Charlie Kirk does he had a conversation with them and talked to him about it. And he's like, not everything they're doing is awful.
Right.
They are trying to go into these other countries
Right.
and help with missions and do these things.
Sure.
What is their goal? I don't know, but
Right.
I mean,
We know their
it's-
goals.
Right. I
They're very
understand,
clear about
but
their
I'm saying
goals.
There are.
And I don't know enough about Rick
Neither
Warren
do I.
to judge him in that situation. Our
Can I give some more shout outs?
Yes, absolutely, John.
The Lenari family is here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Isabel said hi. Those are the
Isabel,
they're here.
Kingdom Coffee.
That's right.
Kingdom Coffee.
Love Kingdom. Margaret Williams, Pamela Rodriguez, Cynthia V. How are you and Jim V? Love you guys. And Darth Spidey.
Darth Spidey.
Do you think Darth Spidey is, your
Spider-Man.
brother-in-law? I don't
Do you
know.
think so?
I don't know. It might be.
That would be the second family member.
Where are your family members, Linnea?
Great question. Great question.
Did you tell
I would like
them
to say
not
working, but
working?
none of my sisters have jobs.
Well, I don't know if I tell everybody
Becky
that.
F, how you doing? It's nice to see you. And
Fahey.
yeah,
Yes.
Big Faye and
Thank you for the candles.
lots of others. Great people on the podcast right now, or the live stream.
Alive.
And Cletus had a question on buying merch
Cletus.
at the church. Is that Final Hour podcast merch? Those of you who got in on it right away feel blessed, because it's going to be a little bit.
But it is coming back.
It is coming
We're
back, and
working
we're
on it.
working on it. But it's complicated with the nonprofit thing. That's all. Without going into great detail, it's just going to be a little bit, but it's definitely going to go back
We're
up.
hoping by the beginning of March. That's the goal.
And so, just want to answer all these questions by Marilyn. Have you had time to read the book by Robert Henderson, Operating in the Courts of Heaven? Ooh. And it is the best teaching, is best on teaching us why God can or cannot move on our behalf. Robert Henderson has great teachings on YouTube, and the Courts of Heaven, also the Four Winds of Heaven. Check them out and let me know what you think, because I do not know, but I will definitely check them out. Marilyn and Jake Simmons, I was looking forward to this one. Thank you to each of you for putting on this podcast. Saturday night service has been part of my life for the past few years. The podcast has been a nice addition. He's moved to Iowa. I enjoy listening to Billy Brim, Joe Morris. They speak of Luke 21 a lot, which refers to Israel becoming a nation again, Jerusalem being won back. I've always just taken it by their word that the fig tree refers to Israel. Mm-hmm. Where in Scripture does it talk about the fig tree referring to Israel? And so I'm just going to take you straight there. Going to take you straight there in Matthew 24. Jake, thank you for your question. Listen now, this is Jesus, all right? And he says, this is the disciples saying, when do we know the time is near? When do we know the time is near? Mm-hmm. And he says, the Son of Man will appear in the sky, Matthew 24:30. And then all the tribes of the earth will mourn and beat their breasts and lament in anguish, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. This is the second coming, all right?
Right.
At the end of the 7-year tribulation, he will send out his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his elect, his chosen ones, from the four winds, and even from one end of the universe to the other. That's a deep statement.
That is
it
very
not?
deep. There's a lot of
That
subtext there.
That means, think about that. He will gather his elect from one end of the universe to the other. Okay. So they're going to be spread out all over the universe, not just the galaxy. From the fig tree, learn this lesson. Here's the answer to your question, Jake.
That is a lot.
Okay. He says in the King James, switching to the King James, learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, ye know that summer is near. So likewise, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the doors. Verily I say unto you, Jake, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. He's talking about end times. He's talking about the signs of his coming.
Yeah.
Which we can say are signs of his rapture too, because the coming of the Lord is just 7 years after the rapture, 7 to 10 years.
Right.
It's disputed if there's any time between the rapture and then the tribulation actually beginning. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Interesting.
So, but what I'm saying is that time is near. Know that time is near. Well, the fig tree is, look, he says, this generation shall not pass away. All right. The fig tree all over the Bible is Israel, is a symbol of Israel. And looking at that verse and the Amplified, how it amplifies it, it says, verse 34, truly I tell you, this generation, all right, the whole multitude of people living at the same time in a definite given period. That's the generation that's been born since Israel becoming a nation will not pass away till these things take place. 1948.
Right.
Okay, that generation is not going to pass. All right? And interesting.
And we're right there at the
what is a generation? How many?
Well,
70 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
70 years.
70. We're right there.
Yes.
Yeah.
58, 68, 78, 88, 98, 2008, right?
2018.
2018.
We're halfway.
Those people are
now.
People are 75 years old.
Okay.
Okay, so that generation is not going to pass.
Right.
Right? Okay, it might start to fade, but it will not pass.
Right.
And all these and we could stay on this chapter. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But this is why you come back to this and it says it's so close. It's so close. And notice it says I love as we go down farther because he's talking about his second coming.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also saying, for just as in those days before the flood, they'll be eating and drinking, marrying, men and women marrying in marriage, and then planting and building, as in the days of Noah. Okay, and they didn't know that it was coming. Then it goes. I think we get complicated here, but I think he's talking about the rapture here in verse 40. At the time, 2 men will be in the field; one will be taken, one will be left.
Yeah.
At that time, 2 women will be grinding at the handmill. One will be taken, one will be left. Watch. Give strict attention. Be cautious and active, for you do not know in what kind of a day, whether near or remote, your Lord is coming. Let me tell you, this is why he's switched to the rapture here, because we know the second coming. You can look at the tribulation and you can see the seals. You can see the trumpets. You can see the different things adding up. You know there's 21 judgments that have to happen. You can walk through the tribulation in the book of Revelation. But I will say this, he goes on and he's talking about, you have to watch. He says, understand this, he's going to be coming like a thief. Listen, had the householder known in what part of the night, whether in a night or in a morning, watched the thief was coming, he would have watched and would not have allowed his house to be undermined and broken into. He's talking about a thief in the night.
Yeah, didn't we just talk about that last week's podcast?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so this is why, and I've got in my notes here, go to Isaiah 62:6. I hope I made that clear to you, Jake, that those scriptures, because you were wanting to know where those scriptures, and he's like, watch the fig tree. That's Israel. When it becomes a nation, what we just read, that generation will not pass away before all these things come to pass. And then, this is why you have to watch. And this is in our opening. I've said Isaiah 62:6. I've set a watchman upon thy walls, O Jerusalem, which shall never hold their peace day or night. That's us. You can take that as we're on the walls of Jerusalem, or we're watching it from Jerusalem's perspective.
Sure.
Okay. And we can. And I believe in doing that. You make mention of the Lord, keep not silence. And you have to watch. And the people that don't watch, I truly believe, are going to be in danger. And I believe even in this day and age, and I had a whole little thing on this. We might go into this next week. Why it says in Hebrews not to forsake the assembling of yourselves. Okay? Why not to forsake that? Even this has a corporate power in a sense. All these people join. We are live now. We are together now. Right? This is your part of your company. What it talks about in Acts. There's a corporate anointing here. All right? Just like there is in church. Right? And so I I hope did you want to hit some more?
Yeah, that was awesome. We have a lot of people responding to that, and they have more to add. But we've got Tammy Joe. You guys might know Tammy Joe. She's related to JD over here.
Oh, his mama.
Jerry.
Yeah, Tammy Joe's here.
Hi, Mom.
That's right. And Leo Augustine from Boys Fort Indian Reservation in northern Minnesota, saying hello. And
Hello.
Thank you so much for tuning
Beverly,
in.
how you doing? Jennifer Jaworski, I don't know if I mentioned you before, but thanks for being here.
Yeah,
Jennifer,
thanks for the bird seed and the silver products.
That's cool. Yeah, but a lot of people having a lot of input about what you're talking about here. A lot of agreement and saying to watch.
Good feedback.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
And we're always looking at all these signs, but in the end, that is the most telltale. 75 years into since Israel became shot forth. All right, became a nation, and so just I'm trying to address all these questions. That came in from in regards to the Nasera and Gesera. I'm sorry I don't have the name there. But the Gesera, Nasera, we tried to get as much information as we could on that. Global Economic Security and Reformation Act, National Economic Security and Recovery Act. This is what cancels all credit card, mortgage, and other bank debt due to illegal banking and government activities. Many refer to this as a jubilee or complete forgiveness of debt.
Yeah.
Have you heard of this, John?
I've heard of it in passing. I don't know everything about it.
Abolishes income tax, abolishes the IRS with employees of the IRS will be all of that.
Yeah.
Okay, can I just say this? I can see this happening at the beginning of the tribulation to get everyone to buy in to the one world government. But I don't know. That would be a very smart move by the Antichrist to get everyone to buy in. Hey, no more debt. Right.
Oh, yeah.
We'll buy your house from you.
Yep.
You can rent it back from us.
You don't have to own anything, but you won't have the pressure to
So it's the World
anything.
Economic Forum, own nothing and be happy.
Yes.
Essentially. I mean, it is. It's a trap to say, hey, you don't have to carry these responsibilities. We'll care for you,
How kind.
Which is
and I
continuation of the nanny state, but.
And I apologize. I don't have. I just read this email myself, and I was like, Linnea, what's Nasera and Gesera, right?
Yeah.
How come you don't know, Linnea? How come you don't?
It was a great conversation.
Well, look it up, Linnea. It was kind of a stressful day, but we don't know enough about it, and I'm not going to sit here and say I know anything. We did look it up. The med beds. I know nothing about med beds.
The med beds, that's the first I heard of it. There's some different theories on it because there's the med beds that like protect you from EMF protection.
Oh, sure.
Or they help you and they're soothing to you. And then there's other med beds where like you lay in this bed in the hospital and it makes sure the doctor doesn't make any mistakes on you.
Interesting.
So it's like a technology bed.
Yeah. It's like a medical nanny to make sure that you're
getting everything right. Yeah, it was interesting. Very interesting.
We did pull a definition. They've been there's a surge of them, new different forms, different functions. What they do is it presents a state of art survey on electric medical beds. They're like smart beds. They keep you more healthy. See these things on our phones? We've promoted them before.
Yeah. EMF protector.
What's that called?
EMF protector.
Okay, and people wrote in.
Yeah.
And
really
I believe in
guys.
this, and I have it on my microwave at home.
I have it on my phone, but mine's
That's a good idea.
And this started
Jim's is 3D because his is old. But
everybody laughed at these things.
You guys, like
we first heard of these on an Israel tour.
Yes, the guy would like come on the bus. Remember,
his name was Burton.
Burton, he was great. He'd like shoot a line at his ankle and like add a bunch of things. And I just remember being like, "What the heck?" And then I started listening to him, and I was like, "Okay." So I came home and ordered them, and
turns out Burton was ahead of it.
Burton was ahead of it.
Wow.
And so
Burton's, he's a
heard about it.
chiropractor.
and we can order these things, right? You can order these
on
things
Amazon.
What is it again,
An
Lenny?
EMF protector.
Maybe we should get some
And you can buy
EMF
Wi-Fi,
projectors on the podcast store.
Well, we should.
I think maybe we should.
It's a science.
Well, at least put it on your
science.
phone. At least put it on your phone. I
You
believe.
love science.
And then eventually you can put one on your forehead and your right hand. It'll be great.
Thanks, John. Anyways.
I'd like a shout out to Ellie Ray. Ellie Ray, how you doing?
Ellie Ray.
Yep.
Sounds like a musician.
It might be.
And
I think.
Have we any more questions, or should we go into? I did have some pretty major stuff happening in Israel, but
Watching the fig tree.
We can
Watching the fig tree.
Yeah, we are watching the fig tree.
We got all the ones that I have in so far.
Okay, and so
no one's given questions in the chat. By the way, chat, go ahead and let us know if there's questions that you want us to talk about.
Jimmy, we know you have a question.
Jimmy,
come on.
We might not.
Jimmy is hitting up the comments. I saw.
Jimmy's the type though that will have a question that we can't answer.
He will. Maybe think about that, Jimmy. Ask Stephanie first. Right. Okay.
Ask Charlotte. See if Charlotte has a question.
Yes, ask her, please.
And no pressure either. No pressure. But I do want to say I'm 90% sure that 90% of you haven't heard this. All right? Okay.
That's a lot.
I didn't know it. I look at the world news. I look at BBC. I look at BBC every day. They're major headlines. And and a lot of times you get a lot more information from the world news than you do our weak national news. All right, because you get to hear about everything. And Israel executed a massive drone attack. Okay,
big time
on multiple Iranian cities. Okay, bombing multiple Iranian military installations and. The Iranian city of Isfahan, another city called Karaj, and also the Iranian capital of Tehran. This was reported in the Al Arabiya channel, one of the local channels over there, and Al Arabiya was describing it as an Israeli attack on Iranian military infrastructures. And we know the city of Isfahan is a big ammunition, weapons storage facility, as well as underground nuclear facilities location. And all these attacks in these 3 different cities that we know of, more information could come out.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we got our information from Amir Safadi to start with. He's awesome.
Very reliable.
Yes.
But they were simultaneous. He's great with the Israeli military also.
Right.
He's also had more information on the Ukrainian war than I've ever heard from anyone, and he gets it before anyone, Amir Safadi. And we're taping this, obviously Thursday, February 2nd, but this drone attack actually happened Sunday night, January 28th to Sunday morning, January 29th, last Saturday night. Israel will never take responsibility, and the Iranian government, but issued a threat at Israel, quoting an Iranian government official, saying, Israel knows very well that it will receive a response. It has happened in the past, as it has happened in the past. Those who play with fire are the first to get burned if they decide to start a regional war. So we have Iran here talking about a regional war. Notice the timing, the same time that Jerusalem and Washington are trying to figure out how to deal with the Iranian nuclear program. Okay? And the U.S. Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, arrived in Israel on Monday. Isn't this interesting? January 31st. So you have Israel bombing using drones, 3 different Iranian cities, military installations. Then Blinken comes in. Are they trying to make a point? According to the State Department, he's going to be discussing the importance of Israeli-Palestinian 2-state solution.
As always.
It's very clear in the Bible, you guys. If you are part of dividing the land, okay? All right? We've given these scriptures multiple times, all right? It's very, very clear. And there's even one in Joel that's pointed to this time, at the end times. If we're going to be part of that, we're going to be judged, Okay, we're going to be judged. And here we've got Anthony Blinken over there trying to discuss a 2-state solution. That's dividing the land. And just keep in mind, we have Ramadan and the major Muslim holiday and Jewish Passover coming up. And in the past, when they've been close together, it's caused violence.
Last year.
Quote Israeli Colonel Michael Milstein says, right now on the ground, the atmosphere on the ground is the temperature is very high. You only need one spark to bring abroad a complete explosion. Look at the rhetoric. Iran talking about a regional war.
Right.
You have to wonder if this is the beginning of what tips off the Ezekiel 38 war. I believe we will see it. I believe we will see it.
Right.
Most scholars are split. Is this right after the rapture, or is it right before the rapture? Wouldn't it, if it was right after the rapture, wouldn't it be a major playing point into that 7-year treaty?
Seems like it.
The 7-year treaty.
Right.
Right. When the world watches that God destroy multiple armies.
Right.
But when you look at how Russia is acting, you could say maybe the Ezekiel war before the rapture brings in the latter rain.
Right.
So it could go either way. One thing we didn't report a few weeks ago, Netanyahu, one of his friends, the Israeli prime minister, just talking about him, Netanyahu said he was absolutely sure the new prime minister would order a strike on Iranian nuclear facilities. All right, if the U.S. nuclear talks with Iran, they're also talking. The U.S. is trying to talk with Iran right now.
Yeah,
and those talks have completely stalled.
Ooh.
And I think Israel's trying to send a message: either get it done, or we're going to bomb these guys.
Right.
This is just the precursor. Remember, Russia, heavy ally of Iran.
Russia.
Iran is sending their drones, and they've got troops over there. I don't believe they're inside Ukraine. We've already reported that with operating the drones in Ukrainian war.
Yep.
And so we have so much information we wanted to give. A lot of things have turned on that in that war.
Right.
For Russia here, there's some things to be looking at. We did not have the time. We looked at everything that we wanted to do today, and we wanted to give. Do you have any?
We got 5 questions.
We have some questions. Also, Elena from Surrey, UK.
Yes.
That's awesome. Thanks for being here. Ken from California, originally from California, now he's in Florida.
Okay.
Used to be an LWCC member. And Rosalie, how you doing?
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's so nice to have you guys here.
Thanks for tuning in, you guys.
Here's an interesting question.
Appreciate you.
This one from Rosalie. Do you think kids that are under the age of accountability will be raptured with their parents?
We just talked about this.
Oh, really?
Okay. That's wow. What a question to get, because me and Linnea didn't agree.
We didn't agree.
I do not believe, God is God. But I do not believe that non-Christian, atheistic parents who have made that decision, and then the rapture happens and they have a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old.
Right.
I personally believe they are staying.
I do too.
And Jimmy Evans, who I greatly respect, and we view his stuff. He believes because of that parental authority, and that's what those parents have chosen, they are staying. Now, with that though, Linnea doesn't believe it. Linnea thinks that the children of atheists, when the rapture happens, will be raptured.
Heart-wise, mercy-wise, I would say I hope so. However, if any sort of authority is going to cover up the rapture and say, who knows what just happened to the aliens, took all the people, whatever.
But that
I don't
already
know.
happened. The rapture would have already happened. So you're saying, go ahead, just finish that.
She's ready to go here. She needs to talk because she hasn't said a word.
So
I have talked.
I don't think there's anything in the the scriptures that we have that happens in the tribulation that talks about all of the children being gone from the earth.
But I just have a question.
Yeah, because it would be all the children.
It would be all the children of the earth.
There wouldn't be any children left.
There would be
but
no
where
hope
does it
for
say
humanity.
that there's children in anything that you've read in Revelation? Any of it? Where does it specify children? James.
It talks about the mothers fleeing to the hills from
mothers. It doesn't say mothers and children. It says mothers. It says children.
Yeah.
Pull it up.
Okay.
But here's my thing.
I don't think it says children. It says you don't want to be pregnant during that time.
But pregnant.
Yeah.
But here's my thing. If you're in a car right now and you get in a car accident and you're a parent and you're an atheist and your children die, they're going to heaven.
Yes.
So why is it any different than when Jesus comes back for the church, and technically that child is not at the age where they can make the decision. So basically up until 13, that child is under the parental guidance of their parents. But I will say, my children did not agree with everything that I did at that time. So you're saying that because I'm an atheist and this is what I believe, and I think if my son Wrigley was, or any of my children actually, were 8, they'd be like, that's crazy.
All I've got to say is, okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, I just believe, why would God change it then when the rapture, change his mind about this is the age of innocence and you're all under my protection, but then when the rapture happens, whoa.
So they aren't their children then?
But you just said the age of accountability.
But those children aren't really those atheist children.
Okay, I'm sorry. Age of accountability.
No, but what I'm saying is, if they go in the rapture, that's saying to those people, those aren't your children.
But then how come if a child dies in a car accident right now, why do they get to go to heaven?
Why would they go to hell?
Why would they go? Why wouldn't they? Then why would they go
to
in the rapture?
Well, just because they,
did you find
just
the
because
scripture,
they're
John,
staying, just because they don't, just because they don't
That's okay.
rapture.
We can disagree.
Linnea, just because they don't get raptured doesn't mean they're going to hell.
No, I
they
understand.
still have the ability.
I understand.
Right.
God will protect them. God, look, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. God, if they are left behind in the rapture, these 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, because their parents are atheists, right? Listen, and I believe what Jim. This is what I believe. God will protect them. God will protect them. But he has the ability to protect them, and he will make sure that they get the message of the gospel, and they get to make their choice. They will get to make their choice, I believe.
Okay.
If they're 3 and then they're 10 and then you've got the second coming, they never get that choice. Can I just tell you this? Then they'll go into the millennium and they'll get to make the choice.
Exactly.
Because just because there's a millennium and Jesus is ruling the earth doesn't mean there's a choice. There's actually nations that rise up against Jesus in the millennium. I just think those kids get to make their choice. They never get a choice.
But they're going to be subject to everything that's happening during the tribulation because they were in a household where their parents were atheists.
Well, then we could question it all. Linnea, we could question all those poor Jewish children being subject to Hitler and had to go. They're being subject. Right. Why were they subject to that? Because they're part of the devil's world.
Well, that was against a race of people. That wasn't just the whole world.
Right. But I'm just saying.
Yeah, we can disagree. It's okay.
Okay, so to be clear.
You're not going to change my mind, but I just haven't read anything where it says children are left behind.
Linnea believes that the children are going and the earth there will have absolutely no children on the earth.
Right. That
I believe.
sense.
No, you can get pregnant during the rapture or during the
yes,
tribulation.
And there will.
I'm
doesn't
saying,
make sense.
We believe.
Where does it say what you
Where does it say it doesn't?
Hold on. To answer the question.
You can do that all day.
Exactly.
To answer the question, I believe that they are not going. They will be protected. They will get a chance to make their choice.
But then why does Jesus...
Can I finish?
Yeah, go ahead.
Linnea believes they are going, and there will be no children on earth for a split second, and for 9 months after that. Okay, well, then he should take the ones that are still in the womb then, because that's not fair.
I think he probably will, but listen.
So there will be not even a...
Why does Jesus make so many comments about the children when he's on earth? Why does he care so much about the children if he's not going to spare them in the tribulation.
He will. How do you know he won't
in
spare
the
them?
rapture and
How do you
take
know
them.
every single one of them won't live through till the millennium?
I don't know, but
and get
you
to
don't know
experience the millennium.
But okay, I don't know. I'm just saying, why does he care so much if he's going to leave them here to suffer?
Well, I think the difference
not their
between
choice.
I think that's the same question that people will raise, that why do children get sick now? You know, because there is sickness in this world. It's not because of sin. It's because that is the situation that this world is living in. And it's not because God doesn't care. It's not that Jesus doesn't love them.
But
it's
then you
that
could take that and say, what is a Christian who believes everything gets sick then? I mean, you can take
because
that
this
on
is
every
a
avenue.
fallen and broken world.
Right.
Yeah. So it's not
It's
fair.
okay.
This is
it's
going
not about
nowhere.
It's not fairness.
We just disagree. We have
Yes,
two opposing...
because it's not. What was her name?
Evely, who writes
No,
it.
it wasn't it.
It was Rosalie.
Rosalie
Thank you
Evanson,
for writing
sorry.
in.
Yeah.
But
I feel like I've met Rosalie.
you have. You have.
Yes, yes. Okay. I'm just trying to place. Okay, let's.
But it's the same way that we don't know that a pet goes in the rapture. Same with a child.
No,
right?
the pets are going.
Oh,
no,
but
I'm just.
the pets are going, but
That's a
the
joke.
kids are not.
That's a joke.
Okay.
Well, you know what though? You know what? I
What?
pray for my pet to go. Sometimes I pray twice a week. I ask God, please take my pet with me. And if he doesn't go, if he doesn't go, then take care
See,
of him.
if God cares about
Okay.
Rollo, then he
What
for
if-
sure cares about
what
the
if
child.
God
who's
needs-
Rollo the
subject to
Viking, not the
it.
candy.
God needs Rollo to watch over the children that are left.
How's
around.
Rollo going to open a door and feed a child?
Listen,
Okay, listen.
there's
No,
so
if the
many
child will have their
possibilities.
atheistic parents feeding him.
That's
Anyways.
just so sad.
Okay,
Okay.
we don't know, and we're not afraid to say we don't know. Okay, I think we can do one more question because we got some more things planned for you. For those of you,
Yes.
you're going to get a little reward that hung around here. So
this one's a little bit off
okay,
off track.
Controversial?
It's not controversial. It's
Okay.
just this is more social media question that happens. You know, there's lots of videos about it. Have you guys heard of the Mandela effect?
I've heard of it.
And I think we've talked about it a little bit. So the Mandela effect is, you know, there's a lot of people that say they grew up thinking that Mandela died in prison. They thought Nelson Mandela died in prison in the 70s, 80s. And other people, you know, we now know that Nelson Mandela was president in South Africa for a number of years.
yes,
Okay, so the Mandela effect is, you know, it's like this was a fact for us growing up, but then all of a sudden we look at it and history says he was actually president after being incarcerated for a certain amount of
yes.
time. So some people say this is like different timelines that are going on, merging.
Like worlds are overlapping.
Right.
Oh.
So I just wondering if you guys had heard anything about that. You know, some people say it's because of the what's the big
The
round-
Bermuda Triangle?
No, the collider, the molecule collider.
The Hadron
in,
Collider?
Yes.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Jeremiah.
Say that, you know, they're messing with the fabric of real space and time.
Yeah.
Well, I don't.
Interesting.
What
I don't-
about it?
I don't know.
I-
just wondering if
You mean like
if
time travel?
not
Yeah.
necessarily time travel, but just
Time's overlapping.
you know, different
Conflicting things.
reality overlapping.
I don't know what to say to that.
I know it's
I-
just curious. Didn't know if you had heard about it or if you had a take on it.
No, I don't. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
There's a few people asking about the question that we were just discussing. Where in the Bible does it talk about an age of accountability?
Well, it really doesn't. We're going by what the Jews,
Right.
what they were instructed in the Old Testament. You know, what are the bar mitzvahs?
Bar mitzvah and
they're
Bar
technically
mitzvahs.
become an adult. Keep that hand up, Linnea. They technically become an adult by 13, right?
Right.
Yes.
And that goes way back into Jewish tradition.
Yes.
But, you know, I was listening, notice, interestingly enough, what is really an adult? Because I tell you what, when God had you had 2.5 million Israelites running around in the desert.
Right.
And they were, every time they were going to go to war, he told Joshua, take everyone over 20 and over.
Yeah.
He didn't say take the 18-year-olds.
Right.
Right? He said take everyone 20 and older. And I thought about that every single time they raised an army. It was 20 and over. So here's this is another thing. No one really knows the age of accountability.
Sure.
Can I tell you that?
Yeah.
Because I have heard that. Who asked this question?
That was a few people.
Yes. Thank you. Because no one really knows what the age of accountability is. And I tell you what, a 10-year-old today is a lot different than a 10-year-old when I was coaching basketball back in the late 90s. Honestly.
Absolutely.
Completely, totally different.
Right.
And so no one knows that age of accountability. All right. I'm sorry. You guys are getting a bunch of I don't know.
Can I say something really fast?
Yes,
though?
yes, you raised your hand. Go ahead.
Those aren't bad I don't knows. Those
Yes,
are like,
yes.
you know, you got to demystify some of the
Yes.
things that people hold as truth
Yes.
about Christianity and go, hey, there are things that we just simply don't know, but it seems like there's a something that God does, you know, in the respect to children or different topics where you go like, well, it seems like God favors this or God favors that, you know.
Right. Well, we were listening to, I think it was Jimmy Evans, and he was talking about when Jesus stayed in the synagogue after his parents left, and they said that was the beginning of him turning into an adult because he was like, I am about my Father's business. This is like my journey now. Right. So I'm taking responsibility for that. So I'm just tossing that in there
with the adults. He was with the adults in the synagogue.
Yeah.
At what, 12?
12.
He was at 12, and he says,
he was starting to.
Jimmy Evans was saying, hey, Jesus was saying, I've reached that age.
Right.
All right. I'm about my Father's business now.
Yeah.
So, but keep in mind, I've heard this.
Or maybe it was Chuck Misler. Either way, somebody was.
No, it was Jimmy Evans.
Okay, it was Jimmy Evans.
And so,
Jimmy,
we appreciate you guys' questions. Don't you think we should start our
we definitely should.
Our tribulation. We want you to see this, and we did. I just was like, you know, this is if this doesn't go over, if today's doesn't go over today, I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm willing to take blame where I'm should be blamed, but this was all Jerry's idea.
Hold on, before we start, I just want to say hi to Hayden from Nashville.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in, Hayden.
She's loving that.
Nashville, how you doing?
Hey, she texted me and said, I'm on.
Okay.
From Nashville.
The creator of the website. Yes, and the opening. So thank you, Hayden.
Yeah, this is an end time feast, right?
You're going to be eating this. There's going to be food shortages.
You.
Okay.
Hakuna Matata. I'm not gonna be
Linnea, please.
Eat a. You guys, they're
These
eating
are bugs.
This
is what the World Economic Forum wants.
Doesn't bug me.
So you can take your.
I just hope my wife will still kiss me.
This is.
Ew.
That
one looks like the one.
Grasshoppers, house crickets, silkworms, field crickets, sago worms, and salt.
You guys, they're bugs.
All right. Here we go.
Doesn't bug you?
Listen, we're not going to dilute it. All right. This is
this is good
some
stuff.
of the best stuff that
I'm going to die from starvation.
It's called
if I don't go in the Rapture.
Burnett Dairy, farm to flavor, extremely hot, roasted reaper salsa.
They're hopping around.
So the great thing is at least they're not juicy.
Like
because if they were, this is the ones that would be juicy.
Are they good, Jim?
No.
What do they taste like? What does it taste like? Don't say chicken.
No,
it does not taste like chicken.
Burnt
it
toast?
tastes like twigs.
It tastes worse than Twigs.
I'm
Twix,
not eating one.
Twigs.
Yeah.
Like
I don't even want to swallow it. Yeah, they're saying this is maybe they need to season one. What's this black one?
That's
I'll try it. It looks like a wasp.
Okay, one more.
You guys, they're eating dehydrated
it's
grasshoppers,
better texture. That's
house
for sure.
crickets, silkworms, field crickets, sago worms with salt.
I think I'm gonna have some with salsa.
Listen, so to make it easier,
you can order these on Amazon.
You can eat a lot of these with Burnett Dairy farm to flavor. Extremely hot.
You think that's going to be an option while people are eating bugs?
Roasted
Why not?
No.
Reaper salsa. People will still be making ghost pepper salsa.
Absolutely.
Okay. No.
With what resources? They're going to own nothing.
The great thing about this salsa is
it's nice and spicy.
Is you can eat it. It's you can eat it.
Woo.
This is great. Let's see what the chats. Does anyone want to try a bug?
This is ghost pepper, roasted reaper, extremely hot salsa.
Ooh.
That's good.
And
Good.
can you do it? Are you going to do it? You're going to do one, John?
Oh yeah, that's so gross.
I'm not eating anymore.
What do you think of it?
I'm not eating more of the bugs.
Eat it, John. You guys, when there was I went on a mission trip once, and they took a bunch of ants and they made it into a paste, and they put it on a piece of bread, and they tried to serve it to me, and I had just come from a missions trip where I got really sick on my trip, and I was like, I'm not eating anything that's not. And it was offensive, but Pastor Kent, our missions pastor, he came in and he ate the bread with the white paste ant on it. I like ant white paste.
Shout out to PK.
You can eat the bugs, and I can eat anything. I really can. There's nothing that I can't eat, all right? But honestly, it didn't taste good, and it's not something I just go out and buy. And I might look for something else in the tribulation besides a bug.
But don't you feel like they're going to give you your food rations and you don't get to choose what you get?
That is.
I think it depends on where you are in the world.
Yeah.
For that, hey,
if you're in
Jerry, did you try the salsa?
It is.
I did.
It's
very
good salsa.
spicy.
It's
John's
just
had.
good, though.
You've only had one.
I
do
had
you
two.
think?
I want to see a full one, John.
I had two.
I want to see a full teaspoon. Jerry, you didn't do no full teaspoon.
Yes, I did.
So there you go, John. Now you're equal with me, 2-2, right?
I mean, that's 3, but
Is that
it's all
3?
good.
Okay, well I have.
I'll do it again. Here
Oh
we
my
go.
gosh!
We might as well
you
go
guys,
4.
what are you doing?
John's going 4.
Yeah.
Highly competitive
No,
here.
this is what I do at
This
home.
is-
I eat this.
This
Like
is how
soup?
you keep your GI in line.
What does that mean?
Your
Your
gastro.
gastrointestinal.
I put this on
Gastrointestinal.
everything.
Yeah.
Again, Burnett Dairy.
It's really good.
That's out of Wisconsin. I know you're making fun of the fact that it's extremely hot roasted reaper salsa out of Wisconsin. It's a famous farm, by the way.
Yeah.
And this person brings this. He probably brings me 12 of these jars a year. And
yeah.
I put this on everything. I put this on everything I eat. And it's kind of like.
Me too, Jimmy. I'm getting raptured, so I don't have to eat the bugs.
Was
I
that
think
Jimmy Gap?
Yeah,
Jimmy
Jimmy
would be
Gap.
down to doing whatever has to be done.
Yes.
Yeah, Jimmy's going to Thailand, right? Is he?
No,
Do we
he
know?
just came back. He
Came
just
back.
came back. But
Yep.
anyways.
But he's going to be a missionary in Thailand, correct?
Yeah.
yes, he is. So
Somewhere.
he might
I've
be
had
eating
Jimmy in
bugs.
Indonesia.
Yeah.
Jimmy went to Indonesia with me once.
He did.
So with that, I think I'm going to take my 5th spoonful because
Okay.
Can you guys even talk? Are
This
your mouths
just
numb
isn't
yet?
even
Absolutely,
touching
it's
me.
delicious.
Okay.
I'd much rather have
We do a little bug.
the
to-
roasted Reaper salsa, extremely hot, Burnett Dairy out of Wisconsin than the bugs.
It's actually.
I just want to confirm that Dorothy Spider is
It
your
is
brother-in-law, Michael.
Miguelito.
Yes.
This stuff is awful. Okay, the bugs are they're
I'm not eating one. John,
all right.
that's
so
good.
listen, it was different. Let's end it with some shout outs here, and I want to pray for everybody that is. Hold on, I gotta wipe my nose. John's sweating.
Yeah, I
So
always
are
do
you.
when
Am
I
I
do
sweating?
when
Yeah,
I do
you are.
salsa, a good hot salsa. I'll get sweat on my brow. Let's see here. We have Samuel Howell,
Okay,
from
Sam. Hi,
the
Sam.
Minnesota.
Call him the Santa Claus Indonesia.
That's right.
Long story.
John Pishke, how you doing? Let's see here. There's other people.
Ken Crabtree.
Ken, yep. There's Guy Jordan. How you doing, Mr. Guy? Good to see you. Let's see here. There's lots of people in, but we got a few people commenting. But they all say they love the live broadcast. It's a lot of fun.
That's good.
Yeah, I had fun.
It was fun.
You're fun.
I'm glad we're still friends after our debate. Okay,
If you
John?
eat enough of this, you get a buzz.
Right
Yeah,
now
you
I'm
ate
just
half the container.
right
so
now
you ate
I'm
way
just
more than John.
I'm just sweating.
You get a little disorientated. I wouldn't say like a buzz.
There's
But
Is it
a
like
little
the
bit of a
coffee buzz?
euphoria.
no, it's better than a coffee buzz. It's
Okay.
like a distorted
My nose is clearing up though, so that's
That's
nice.
good.
Yeah.
But
That's
listen,
good.
let's while we've got everyone on collectively, at the same time we're going to pray corporately
Yeah.
over everyone. And this is a prayer that you should pray every day over yourself, okay? And I'm taking scriptures from Ephesians 16 through 23 and Colossians 1, 9 through 14. And I'm just kind of I pray over every single person, every single subscriber, every single listener, every single person that is online with us right now in the name of Jesus Christ, that you would grant unto them, the spirit of wisdom and revelation, insight into mysteries and secrets, and the deep and intimate knowledge of you, by having the eyes of their hearts flooded with light,
Yeah.
so they can know and understand the hope to which they have been called in the name of Jesus. And also, we pray that they would be filled with the full and deep and clear knowledge of your will.
Yes.
That means the plan. You can pray to know God's plan for you every single day. You should. You should pray these prayers. Paul said he prayed these prayers multiple times a day. These are not prayers that you can't say over and over. This is not a prayer of faith.
Right.
This is Paul explaining to Christians how to pray. What else did he pray? I pray they would be invigorated and strengthened with all power according to the might of your glory, that they would exercise every kind of endurance and patience and perseverance and forbearance and do it with joy.
Yes.
And I pray they would be delivered from the power of darkness, and translated into the kingdom of your dear Son. Whatever power that be, right? Business,
Yep.
from your child, from bullying, from chemical dependency, whatever it
Right.
may be.
Yeah.
You guys,
Amen.
we're excited today. I'm excited to not eat any more of those bugs. Honestly, those are one of the worst things I've ever tasted.
They're not
And
fun.
I can eat a lot of bad stuff. I can
That's a
steal.
leg.
I can steal myself, to eat anything. Somebody.
Look,
Is it
that was Jeremiah with the, what was it? Fear Factor, where you would have to like do something. Didn't Joe Rogan do the Fear Factor show? Yeah, I wouldn't have made it. But it's funny. We have a lot of people who appreciated the live. There's a vote going on out there amongst the community of, should this be a weekly thing at live? They're debating. It's hilarious.
Could be at least regular.
It could be.
Doesn't necessarily have to be.
But in the meantime, you do 9 teaspoons. Of
Actually,
Burnett
Holly
Farms.
said drink from the jar, Jim, and you know what? I agree.
Okay, Holly. Thank you, Holly.
This is for you, Holly. Oh my, that's disgusting. You have it on your nose.
With that,
Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll talk.
Yeah.
Is your mouth numb yet, Jim?
This has been the Final Hour podcast.
He didn't drink very much, honestly, you guys.
I was like 4.
Just
There's at least
live
4.
I'm kidding. Calm
Just
down.
shade.
Relax.
Just
This was
in
this
the
was
live.
full. This was full when we started.
It's impressive.
Thank you so much for tuning in. It's
See you
been
next
an honor.
week.
Love you
See you
guys.
next week.
See
We
ya.
love you.
The light's still on.
It is still on. It's gonna go until he.
Shut us down.
That's all right. Oh,
Are
hold
we
on.
done? We're still live.
We're still live.
We're still live, guys. This is actually.
We love you. God bless you. We love you. Thank you guys so much. Don't pay any attention to anything I say because I'm not thinking real clear right now.